my name is Samuel Leeds, and this week we have Chris Jaap of Winners on a Wednesday. He's got 20 rent-to-rent deals. He told me it was 13, but actually we counted, and it's actually 20. And he's packaged and sold multiple deals. He's full-time in property. He's been full-time in property now for 18 months, and he's going from strength to strength. Chris, welcome to Winners on a Wednesday.
Thanks for having me.
Are you excited?
Yeah, pumped up, yeah.
Honestly, we've got closer and closer over the last few months. You're now stepping into some bigger deals.
Yeah, we've got, as the time's progressed, we've got ourselves involved in a lot bigger deals. There's a few developments we're looking into and larger deal sourcing deals that we've managed to be involved in. We're just waiting for some final figures on that ultimately. But yeah, it's gone from a couple of rent-to-rents to the bigger deals now.
Yeah, because you came on Winners on a Wednesday last year and you had a couple rent-to-rents. I think you'd just gone full-time in property and you were doing okay, but now, not only your results, but also your experience in property, you're a totally different person, really.
Yeah, well, that came through a lot from experience, to be honest, because at the time when I'd met you on the last Winners Wednesday, I did just quit my job, went full-time property. I'd just taken on a few, 3 or 4 deals at the same time, and it overwhelmed me at that point to a degree, because I didn't know, for instance, I didn't know how I was going to pay for some of these deals, how I was going to get the refurbishment on it. Bills were still going out because it's guaranteed rent. All of it just overwhelmed me to an extent.
And people sometimes like to know, Samuel, how are your students getting on a year later?
Yeah.
And you've been through ups and downs. You've had rent-to-rents that were making. I've seen them that were making thousands of pounds profit a month, and then suddenly, bang! Pandemic came. You've had to adjust. Yeah. Some of them you've had to let go of. So to date, then, right now, what's happening? So right now we're in one of your rent-to-rent properties.
This is one of the rent-to-rent properties. Right now, I systemised the rent-to-rent business once I got to a point where I'd reached over 10 properties and had over 90 odd rooms combined. Which you're questioning now because you think it should be more. Because
because you told me that you had 13 rent-to-rents.
Yeah.
But actually, like this property, for instance, that we're in,
it's 4 flats.
It's 4 flats.
Yeah.
Just because the landlord happens to own all 4, and you've got 13 landlords, but actually proproperties you've got 20.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Definitely. I mean, they are individual flats. Yeah, they are individual flats. So yes, that was.
How much is this block making you each month?
This block itself was quite creative in how it was structured, because, in fact, it was the people I spoke to on the academy that enabled me to create a better deal from this. The landlord did want quite a large amount for it, because he knows the nice flats, he knows what the area's like, he knows what you could get. However, I spoke to people on the academy saying he wants this. They said, why don't you try approaching him with this way? And they suggested lowering the price, but you do the furnishings, because you can offset the furnishings with on finance, for instance, if you wanted to, or lease them, exactly. So it allowed me then to have a lower rent.
Right.
I had to pay a little bit more up front, but I had a lower rent for a longer period.
Right.
So now we're taking about £1,500 a month on this one deal alone. And before COVID, we were renting the rooms at weekends to service accommodation, mostly to the football traffic, which obviously it's kind of gone dead now. But that was, with that combined, it would have pulled in about 2,000.
That's fantastic. So profit right now, you're making about what, 1,500 to 2,000 a month?
A steady 15 on this one.
Yeah. Fantastic. And you know what I like about you, Chris? I've watched your journey over the last sort of 18 months, and you've been hit sometimes, but you're a man of integrity. And I mean, we've been around one of your HMO properties. You packaged and sourced it. It turned out to be such a good deal. I'm saying, why don't you just keep it for yourself? And you say, no, I had an agreement.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're a principled man, no, I had an agreement. Same story. You've charged fees sometimes, like project management fees, and then you thought, my goodness, this is a bit more work than I thought. I should have charged more. But you always follow through with what you say you're going to do.
It's, to me, people kind of look at property and try and get the quick buck. For to me, it's the long game. It's the relationships you build. So for me, I not necessarily want to take the maximum I can straight away. It doesn't have to be, because you can just build a reputation, they'll come back for repeat business, and it's better for yourself and the company and for them.
Yeah.
Longer down the line.
And our property director, Ben Machakanyanga, he's often said, I've got this great opportunity I'm looking at. I'll say, where did it come from? It came from Chris.
Yeah, I've spoken to Ben.
So the thing is, as much as you say the academy's helped you and this person and that person from the academy, you're the kind of person that you come as an asset. You come and you bring a lot of value everywhere you go.
Oh, thank you.
So I'm really grateful for the support and also just the value. You're the kind of guy that will sit with people, have a coffee. That's why I wanted you on this interview, because I'm saying everyone wants to pick your brain in what you've done because you've achieved so much. It's like, come back on Winners on a Wednesday, share the story, share the ups and downs. What's been the hardest point? Because I know you have had some downtimes. What's been the most challenging thing that's happened over the last 18 months of this journey?
The most challenging, there's two that kind of sticks to mind, two that come to mind, should I say. The first one was what I was kind of leading on to initially last year when I came on the interview with yourself. I'd taken on too much, I didn't know what to do, how to do anything. But from that and finding the solutions to the problems I had back then allowed me to progress as a business and for myself, because then you kind of can just get overwhelmed and just think, I can't do this, it's not going to happen, I'm ruined. But if you just stop, what's the solution? What's the problem? What's the solution? Like next, what's the solution? Find that. Yeah. So that was the biggest one I found that affected me, and it made me grow, and so I could be a bit more calmer in this lot of situations. And at the moment, the biggest issue I think everyone's experienced is COVID. Yeah. During the summertime, we were speaking quite a bit because we were trying to get these interviews, but there was just too much going on. Too much going on. We had a project we were refurbing, there were deal sourcing, there was issues going through with deals dropping out, there was tenants leaving the properties. So when you're doing a rent to rent, an empty bed is profit loss. So you need to be on top of the game. Yeah. So as much as we systemized the rent to rent business, had a property manager and a lettings manager in, which allowed me to set up the deal sourcing company, I had to put that on ice a little bit to go back into the rent to rent to try and get the occupation back up. Sure.
And I think it's really interesting what you said there, because, and looking at your journey, you started off with rent to rent and deal sourcing. You've killed it, to be fair. And I know you've had your challenges, but you've killed it. Now you're moving on to bigger deals and development deals. That's the transition that I recommend people to do. I mean, to go full-time in property, you went full-time in property real quick. You were full-time property before you'd even done most of the training.
I hadn't even
registered for the academy.
No, I hadn't said. I did the DFE, and I just thought, you know what, this is it for me. Like I said, I had the company set up, and I knew I'm the sort of person who will just keep going to make something successful.
But you quit your job in faith almost.
It was in faith, yeah.
That it was going to work.
Yeah.
But and then you joined the academy, and then luckily you did have support, because I tell you what, do you think that if you were completely alone in property and with all the crap that can happen, I mean, some people just couldn't cope with that.
I'll be honest, I am a very strong-minded person. I've 13 years in the military before that, and I'm quite confident in my own abilities and myself as an individual. But there was a time last year, like I say, when I had all those problems, I shut down, I broke down. It was a mental sweep, but relying on the people around you, the friends that you make. Someone I met at a PIN meeting in my local area, who I relied on almost to pull me back into normality, thinking, well, it's not an issue, just get on with it. So the support and the network that's around, especially with the academy, because now co-sourcing, he's my business partner, is Patrick Welsh from the academy, who I met, who we're doing deal sourcing with together. There's all sorts of groups of people who I'm involved with, and all that came about from the academy.
And I think as well, when you pay for the academy training or any training, certainly with myself, you're not just paying for information, you're paying for implementation, support, and environment, knowledge, network, friends. And I think that's vitally important.
That was the biggest push. That was my biggest reason for doing it. And I think that is the biggest thing I've taken from it as well. The network is everything for me.
So you've been doing rent to rent and deal sourcing, which is fine, but you've got so much more wealth experience than that, because I mean, we've just been to one of your BRR HMOs. I guess because you've been packaging and selling deals, but you've also been managing the refurbs and stuff, your knowledge now when it comes to things like BRR, finance, development, HMOs is just like through the roof.
Yeah, it's growing all the time. I mean, every deal that you don't necessarily get over the line, you learn something from it, and then you bring it to the next one, and you're always getting closer. And then every time you get something ticked off, you move on to the next one. So the natural progression for me with my 5-year plan was to do rent to rent for 2 years, and then move on to purchasing my own and developments, etc. I managed to systemize the rent to rent business a lot quicker. So in the meantime, I'd set up the deal sourcing company as well. So that side of things is pushed me out my experience exponentially, really.
Yeah. How do you go about deal sourcing? So do you find the deal first, the investor first? How do you sell it? What's the process?
Chicken and the egg.
It's a
chicken and the egg. It's a weird one because it's the one question that I was constantly asking myself and asking everybody, and now that I'm on the other side of the fence, people are asking me. It's one of those, ideally, personally, I like to find the investor to find the deal for them.
Yeah.
So you know what you're looking for, and then you can say to them, look, I found this is exactly what you want. And then you can promote that by saying, I've just found this for these, everybody look what we can offer.
Yeah.
However, sometimes you might just be a case of, I don't have the investor, so if you're good at finding deals, then you can say, look, I found this, you can co-source with somebody and say, and then you can get recognized for your ability to find the deal.
Yeah.
So it's a chicken and the egg.
Average fee to make on a deal that you've just found and sold on?
The average fee we've sold them for 3,000. We sold them to 5,000. We have the project management fees on top of that as well, if they wanted to do that. So some of the investors that we're working with, they are based in Dubai or based in London.
Yeah.
Other ones who want to grow. His words are, I want to build a portfolio aggressively. So there's people who just want to move fast.
Yeah.
So we've got the criteria for these guys. We're just ready to move on.
So what does an average day look like in the life of a property entrepreneur, full-time as yourself? Like what does your average day look like?
The average day.
You got kids, right?
Yes, I'm married.
And that was a big reason for why you did this.
It was my why. You know, everyone finds out what's your reason for doing everything. I travelled a lot with all my jobs. I was always working away. I was always abroad, 10 days at a time, 2 days off sort of thing, or I was working offshore. Enough was enough. You get married, you have a kid, you want to come home, be home with the family. So that was my reason. There's a lot of time spent in hotels, so a lot of research into reading books, audio books, YouTube channels, such as yourself.
Yeah, you're on it now though. You're on it now. The other side of the screen.
But that's what it all came from. It was making use of the time because I know what I wanted to do was for the benefit of us and the family.
I remember when you first signed up for the academy, you told me it was for your family. You wanted to be at home. Even tonight, you were like, I've got another appointment in a bit, so I need to go home. I'm like, what's your appointment and what is it?
We're going to carve some pumpkins with the family.
Carve some pumpkins with the family. But the thing is, though, I think that's really important. You can spend your whole life working crazy hours for somebody else, making somebody else rich, and not living your own life. No. But actually, you decided enough's enough. I'm going full time, and as it happens, it's worked out well. But not to say, I know you work crazy hours. You work really hard.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really see them as long hours. I probably work longer hours now as a property entrepreneur, as investing, because you're constantly looking at deals, packaging, working on something on the business, the deal sourcing, the social media, you're always doing something, but I don't see that as work though. I don't see them, like I say, I work longer hours, but I don't see it as work.
But when you love what you do, and when you're at home, you're on your laptop, you can take breaks with your kids. It's lifestyle.
That's it. It's end game. I don't mind putting 20 hours a day in. I don't mind doing the work now because I know where I'm going and what I'm trying to achieve. Yeah. It's just a matter of me taking the right steps.
What would be your advice to somebody watching this that's maybe 5 years behind you, working crazy hours? And they're thinking, you know what, I want to start a family, I want to buy my time back, I want to get into property, haven't necessarily got lots of money, maybe I'll start rent-to-rent deal packaging. What would be your best piece of advice?
Look at yourself really and find out what you want. That's the key thing is where do you want to be? Yeah. If you're saying if it's 5 years ago, where do you want to be in 5 years? Do you still want to be in the same job, same position, or do you want to be your own boss, sitting at home, or doing what you want? It might be in the Faroe Islands, doesn't matter. Yeah. Start finding out what that is, that passion, and then take knowledge, take action. Knowledge and action is the key things here. One of the fundamental reasons that pushed me or incentivized me to getting into this is there's nobody who was, you don't have to go to university to get a degree and to be qualified as a professional property investor. It's about taking action and learning along the way. There's so much information out there.
Yeah.
It's just learn it and then implement it.
That's so true. Get the knowledge, take the action, and then persist.
Yeah, you will. Oh, it's a roller coaster.
Yeah.
The high and the lows are low.
Yeah.
There will be. It's guaranteed. There will be lows.
You've had to adapt your whole service accommodation market because previously you were very much catering to tourists. Am I right in saying?
Yeah, we have a block of 8 student apartments that's in the city centre.
Yeah.
That was primarily weekend goers, football traffic or stag do's, etc. Yeah. It was primarily for tourists. We didn't really have any Monday to Friday bookings. However, with that, just on the weekend bookings, we were still generating on the good months between 2,000 to 3,000 profit a month. COVID wiped it completely. Yeah. Cancelled every booking we had, and I can say this was back in February. We had bookings taken up between 8,000 and 10,000 gross up until September. So we knew back then we had that ready. Gone. The whole thing got wiped off.
Terrible.
So we've had to really twist.
Soul destroying.
It was hurt. It hurt in the chest.
When you bank that money, because it not physically banked it, but in your mind you're like, it's come in, it's booked, and then suddenly you can't even book through Airbnb. No, so what did you do? Who's your market now?
So we've changed the clientele to contractors now. Yeah. So we've had to really push to try and get them to do marketing campaigns, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, everything we can do to try and get out there. Even as far as visiting some of the sites in the local area, just trying to promote the business, try and promote what we can offer. Now, Liverpool itself it's got quite a lot on offer in terms of SA service accommodation. So we've had to even look at bringing the prices down to reflect this. So it's been a difficult time. Yeah,
for sure. But it's about knowing your market, knowing the price point. Yeah. I mean, this property that we're in, didn't you say, or was it the last one? You said we had contractors that signed for like 6 months or something crazy.
Yeah, this is contractors for here. This whole deal was a whole fortuitous set of circumstances. I mean, the deal came about. A carpet fitter who fit carpets for me, one of my first jobs a year ago. We just got on really well. I liked him, he liked me. He did a few more carpets for me. He ended up trying to buy a shop in the local area. He was just passing by whilst this place was getting refurbed by the vendor, and he just walked in to see if he could sell carpets to them. Back of that, he ended up passing my details to the landlord, and then the landlord contacted me, and then we negotiated the deal on this.
Fantastic. Networking, right?
That's it, yeah. It's just you don't know where it's going to come from. Since then we've created a good friendship with this vendor as well. He's asked me to look at another property of his in the city centre. We've not been able to agree on anything just yet with that, but again, you don't know where these leads are going to come from.
Another interesting thing is, we say don't count your chickens until they've hatched. Yeah. People might watch this and think of you as rent-to-rent, deal packaging. I know you got some crazy things in the pipeline, which we can't really talk about right now.
No, we can't.
But some potential 7-figure deals, development, some crazy stuff going on. You're also working with some, pretty high net worth individuals that are looking to do business with you. You got my team interested. My property team are saying, "Oh, Chris Jaap's doing this, Chris Jaap's doing that." So, it's really exciting. Talk to me a little bit, without going into specifics, about what your future holds and what the next phase is going to look like for you. Now you've become financially independent from deal packaging and rent-to-rents.
Yes, the next phase for me is to push on with the deal selling as such, with my business partner on that.
That's Patrick Welsh.
Patrick Welsh.
He's on the academy.
We met on the academy. I was a level ahead of him in terms of the rent-to-rent. Yeah. And that initially back then, and he was having the same problems. So he reached out to me, and I was helping him. Yeah. And then we naturally just pulled it together. And
what's the name of your deal sourcing company? I'll leave a link.
Nordic Property Solutions.
NordicPropertySolutions.co.uk. I'll leave a link. So if anyone wants to get deals from you or talk to you, I'll leave a link for that. Yeah, and I can vouch for you as a person as well, because you're a great guy.
Yeah, appreciate that. We do send out deals quite regularly.
Yeah.
We have some quite fantastic deals recently, especially you came to view one of our properties that we've packaged and project managing for one of our investors at the moment.
Yeah.
That's going to be a crazy, almost all money out deal for them and cash flowing over £1,000 net.
Incredible.
A month for them. So yeah, they're happy. So it's just again, repeat.
Incredible. So talk to me about the most satisfying, the most aha moment, like, oh my gosh, this was, for you, because I know you've had some downs, we've talked about that. At what point did you think, I'm so glad I quit my job, I'm so glad I got into this?
I don't know. I don't think there's anything that at the moment that stands out as the moments. It's a collective, bunch of situations, really, mostly again like family time.
Yeah.
For instance, during the summer, during the COVID, or even last summer, should I say, I was just being able to go on like a Wednesday afternoon and take my boy to the beach just to do something. What are you doing today? I can go and play with you. I can take you to the park. It's those sort of things that I'm thankful for. That property has allowed me the space, the time, and capacity, and obviously the financial freedom that comes with that. And now it's just a case of making sure that my ambitions is obviously just keep going and going.
Yeah.
That's where my goal is to be higher and higher.
That's great. Well, I've loved working with you. I'm super impressed. I hope people get in touch with you, and I hope that people can joint venture with you. It makes me happy seeing Academy members doing business together and people do deals together. Final words of advice for someone watching this. Next things they need to do in the next couple of weeks to really get started and make this begin to turn into a reality. Go.
Set yourself goals and a business plan. Not necessarily a business plan. Set yourself goals and realistic goals.
Yeah.
Achievable goals to start with, and then something that's not realistic, something that will take a long time to get to, but it's a dream.
Yeah.
But lay them out into steps, start taking steps. For me, I wanted to become financially free. I wanted to quit my job to do it. I decided to look into property, found property, so many different strategies you can do, narrowed in onto rent to rent, read up on rent to rent, understood the ins and outs of rent to rent, and then just implemented it and take action.
Yeah, that's so good. I like what you said about have a dream, but then have short-term stepping stones as well.
Yeah, everyone always has that. I want to be stinking rich and have a yacht and stuff, but how are you going to get there?
Yeah.
It needs to be progressive.
Yeah.
So otherwise, if you don't achieve it, some people, it's going to be mentally straining, etc. So have something that you can just keep ticking off, and you slowly you're achieving your big goal. You're achieving it, and it's getting closer and closer.
When you quit your job, what was your job?
I was a contractor then for installing communication systems in air traffic control towers. So I was up and down the country, everywhere.
Is this more fun?
I enjoy it. Yeah. It's not as dirty anyway. It's to an extent. Depends on
what property you're in.
Yeah, depends on them.
Folks, I hope you enjoyed that interview. I think you can agree Chris is an absolutely fabulous guy, so he deserves every success that he's got. If you'd like to be sat with me on Winners on a Wednesday, you're one of my success students, you've done some training, you can apply by going on winnersonawednesday.com. If you're not successful yet, but you want to be successful, then in the description, check out some free training that you can do, which will really get you started. Also, every single week, I interview people on my YouTube channel who are succeeding as a direct result of our property investment training. And you can see a whole playlist up here where you can watch literally over 100 interviews. There's a lot. Also, if you want to see Chris Jaap's first interview, which was taken around about a year ago, you can check that out right here. And please do me a massive favour, smash the like button and subscribe, which you can do right here. Thanks so much. See you next time.